Enormous as a whale, with a mouth as wide as a canyon, and a hunger that knows no bounds, this is how the deadliest land mammal on the planet is recognized. Stuffing its face like there's no tomorrow, this strange creature has the ability to wolf down 150 pounds of grub in a mere blink of an eye and churn out a whopping 400 pounds of dung on a daily basis. With a reputation for being wild and unpredictable, the creature comes out of the blue and catches fishermen off guard, overturns boats, and gores its victims to death in a very menacing way. This is the king of the river, the hippopotamus. Back in the 1980s, the notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar imported a family of 4 exotic hippos from Africa to join his personal zoo in Colombia. Little did he know, these seemingly harmless giants would go on to become one of South America's deadliest invasive species, claiming several lives each year. But that's a story for later in the video. First, let's give them a proper introduction. Hippopotamus amphibius, or the hippopotamus, is also known as the common hippopotamus, or Nile hippopotamus, or simply a hippo. And it's a large semi-aquatic mammal often found lounging in rivers or lakes of sub-Saharan Africa. It is one of just 2 surviving species in the Hippopotamidae family, with its counterpart being the smaller pygmy hippopotamus. Despite their physical resemblance to pigs, the closest living relatives of the hippopotamus are actually the aquatic marvels, whales, dolphins, and porpoises, with whom they share a common ancestry some 55 million years ago. Their name, derived from ancient Greek, fittingly means river horse, nodding to their aquatic dominance. Which is kinda true, because these extremely beefed up guys, despite not being very good swimmers, can send even the most skilled predators fleeing from their wild splashing charges. Crocs, big cats, hyenas, nothing stands a chance. Take for instance this trio of lions narrowly dodging a mauling from a mighty hippo while crossing a river. Being a true mega herbivore, the hippopotamus boasts impressive size and stature. Adult males, or bulls, typically weigh in at around 3,260 pounds, while females, or cows, come in slightly lower at 3,009 pounds. However, some of these hefty creatures can bulk up to a whopping 5,860 pounds, supported by their short and sturdy legs. Male hippos continue to grow throughout their lives, while females typically reach their maximum weight at age 25. These animals sport a classic barrel-shaped body, measuring 10.8 to 11.3 feet. And that's from head to body length, and standing at an average height of 4.6 feet at the shoulder. Given the fact that hippos spend a staggering 16 hours a day lounging in the water, it's no surprise that they've evolved some incredible adaptations for their semi-aquatic lifestyle. Their skeletal structures are actually specifically designed to support their massive weight, featuring dense bones and stout legs that keep their center of gravity low, aiding in sinking and moving along the riverbed, providing stability on land. These giants also sport webbed toes, perfect for both swimming and navigating slippery riverbanks. Their eyes, ears, and nostrils are strategically placed high on their skulls, allowing them to remain above the waterline while submerged. Additionally, they have the ability to close their nostrils or ears underwater, and their eyes are protected by nictitating membranes. When out of the water, hippos face a sunburn risk as the nearly hairless bodies leave them high and dry, with little protection from the scorching sun. To combat this, these bizarre creatures produce a natural red-colored sunscreen, often known as blood sweat, although it's neither blood nor sweat. Initially clear, this secretion quickly transforms into a red-orange shade and ultimately darkens to a deep brown. This secretion not only fends off harmful bacteria, but it also effectively absorbs UV light, acting as, again, a sunscreen. After a day of aquatic leisure, hippos emerge from the water just as night falls, embarking on nightly land forages spanning 2 to 3 miles, consuming a hefty 80 to 150 pounds of grass in one session. By daybreak, they return to the water, completing their nocturnal escapades. Using their elongated snouts, hippos employ their broad, tough lips to grip and extract grass, which is then crushed by their back-of-mouth molars. While they have massive jaws with 2 long canine teeth that are nothing short of menacing, those chompers are only used for combats and confrontations. These hefty herbivores boast a capacious stomach, capable of storing 2 days' worth of grass. Remarkably, they can endure up to 3 weeks without food, showcasing their impressive adaptability. As much as hippos munch, as much as we have hungry hippos on our hands, they are equally prolific in another department, poop production, which can sometimes, as I've mentioned earlier, reach a whopping 400 pounds in a day. But it's not just about the quantity. They do it while spinning their tails to spread the feces far and wide, a habit known as muck spreading. This strange behavior occurs both on land and in water, and its purpose remains a bit of a mystery. While some suggest it's for marking territories, the fact that hippos only establish territories in the water contradicts that idea. It seems to be more of a habitual exercise, showcasing the bizarre and mysterious nature of these animals. When it comes to claiming their turf, hippos certainly know how to make a statement. This crocodile unfortunately swam across the wrong waters, coming face to face with a herd of hippos that treated this apex predator like a kind of kitten, goring and tossing it about until, by some stroke of luck, the crocodile managed to slip through their jaws. Strangely enough, despite such a fierce response to the intrusion, their social bonds are very dry. Males and females of a pack don't tend to mix up and usually keep to themselves, although they do stick together in packs of 20 to 100 individuals. However, when the mating season arrives from February to August, one dominant male gets to mate with a large group of females. Meanwhile, the remaining males just have to battle it out and come on top to win the affection of ladies. I guess come in top, but during these clashes, their iconic yawn serves as a display of intimidation. Their jaw strength comes from massive masseter and digastric muscles, creating their characteristic droopy cheeks that allow the animal to generate the strongest bite force of all land animals, reaching a bit of a whopping 1,821 psi. That's in their full frenzy. Oh, this poor antelope had a taste of it when the big beefy hippo saved it from being thrown into the wild dogs at first, but ended up being crushed in its own jaws. I guess that's one way to show some dominance in the animal world, isn't it? With a jaw hinge that permits a nearly 180 degree of movement and a folded orbicularis, oris muscle, hippos can achieve an impressive gape without causing tissue damage. Their lower incisors and canines continuously grow, reaching lengths of up to 20 inches and are honed through contact with smaller upper canines. Facing off, these two titans open their colossal jaws in a frenzied standoff, relenting only when one submits to death or defeat. This grueling display of dominance can last for hours, during which the hippos bellow, bite, gore, and thrash at each other. The bellowing calls are typically the wheeze honks that they use in other forms of communication as well. Hippos also let out echolocative clicks that oddly sound like farts. And that's to get a bead on objects underwater. They possess a unique talent for keeping their heads partly above water, emitting cries that travel through both air and water, allowing communication with other hippos above and below the surface. These peculiar calls, known as amphibious calls, distinguish them as the only mammals capable of making them. Following the mating season, females give birth to a single baby after a 240-day gestation period. The calf typically stays with its mother until it's 7 to 8 years old, at which point it becomes fully independent. The males, however, can be pretty bad parents. Sometimes these strange animals can be so ruthless that they kill their own babies just to have another shot at mating with the females. While looking like slow, lumbering creatures with stubby little legs, hippos can surprisingly gallop at speeds of up to 19 miles per hour, easily outpacing the average human at full tilt. With humans, though, hippos have had a long-standing beef. The earliest signs of modern human interaction with these mighty creatures dates back 160,000 years, evidenced by cut marks on hippos' fossils suggesting a butchery. Still today, the beef remains uncooked. Hippos are notorious for their aggressive behavior, frequently charging and attacking boats. These hefty mammals can easily capsize very small boats, leading to injuries or even death by drowning or direct attack. In a tragic 2014 incident in Niger, a female hippo, seemingly protective of her young, capsized a boat, resulting in the deaths of up to 13 people, including 12 students en route to school. When in beast mode, these formidable creatures can gore their victims to death, sometimes resorting to biting and tearing limbs apart. In 1993, after the death of Colombian drug lord Pablo Escobar, most of the exotic animals he had imported as pets, such as zebras, giraffes, kangaroos, and rhinoceroses, died, or they were relocated to zoos. However, his 4 hippopotamuses survived, and for better or worse, they thrived. Perhaps a little too well. They defended themselves, found their way to an artificial pond, and began reproducing. By 2023, their numbers had grown to 170 from an original of 4, with estimates suggesting that they could reach 1,000 by 2035. These hippos had become a menace, attacking farmers, raiding farms, and even suppressing the ground that they traversed, making it difficult to cultivate later. They eventually posed a serious threat to the country's ecosystem. Adding to their impact, when hippos defecate in water, their gut bacteria promote algal growth, which will eventually deplete the oxygen levels, threatening aquatic life. To address this issue, Colombian authorities decided to take action, sterilizing some hippos, euthanizing others, and relocating some to sanctuaries in other countries. Despite the hefty cost of $10,000 per animal for these measures, authorities remain committed to removing at least 40 hippos annually from the population. Today, the common hippo faces two significant threats: hunting and habitat loss. In the past, these majestic creatures roamed vast territories, spanning from the Nile Delta to the Cape. However, their current range has shrunk to protected areas only. Sadly, hundreds of hippos fall victim to human hunters each year, sought after for their meat, fat, and prized ivory tusks. According to the IUCN Red List, the total population of common hippos is estimated to be between 125,000 and 148,000 individuals, and they're currently classified as vulnerable, with their numbers steadily declining. For us, our best bet is to keep our eyes peeled for these poop sprinklers to stick around for as long as possible. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, poop sprinklers, and I'll catch you in the next one.